Hello and welcome to Stories from My Drinking Days. My name is Harry Fell and I'm the founder of No Low Cocktails and Bars. Today we are joined by Sam Youngz, known professionally as RubySamYoungZ, who is a compassionate psychic guide empowering empathic women to break free from the burden of being known as strong. As an energy medicine practitioner and natural health advisor, Sam draws upon powerful energy modalities, emotional healing, spiritual connection, and the wisdom of nature. Your work sounds really, really interesting.
Thank you.
First of all, though, do you want to tell us a little bit about, do you remember your first drink and how you started drinking?
I'm not sure if I remember my first actual drink, but I remember the age. So I was 14.
Yeah.
And I think it was at a youth club. Yeah. Now I'm going back. It was at a youth club. So I'm quite an introverted person, and I wanted to fit in because I felt like I didn't fit in anywhere. And that was my first drink, and it sort of snowballed pretty quickly from there.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people, I know, I certainly feel that I started drinking because I didn't necessarily fit in. And I think that, a lot of us start with that social anxiety that leads us to think that having a drink is going to help us fit in. So I completely get that. So what happened then? You said that was the starting point. So how did your relationship with alcohol develop?
I actually quite detested the taste of alcohol, to be honest. Alcohol had been in my family. I'd grown up around alcohol, let's just put it that way. So I had witnessed and just thought it was quite normal. That's what you do. You drink a lot, and which didn't have very happy endings. But yeah, so it'd been there from a young age. And yeah, I didn't like it, but like I just said, I wanted to fit in. I mean, that was sort of a high level thing. Now I'm wiser and done a lot of work myself. I understand what actually was behind that as well. That sort of driving me to try and fit in somewhere. So yeah, it started there, and I sort of forced myself to drink it. Didn't like the taste of it, but then I got the taste of it, and I guess I like the way it's self-medication, isn't it? I like the way it took me out of my reality for that point in time.
Yeah. So having had your first sort of taste of alcohol age 14, did you then continue to drink through your teenage years? And was that a regular thing for you?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm quite petite, so I didn't look my age then. So yeah, at that age, it was like different friends who were older getting the drink for everyone. And then as I aged, from like 16 onwards, it was regularly being in pubs. And again, friends who looked older, who weren't, but who looked older, would be the ones getting the drinks for everyone. Literally, I used to live around the corner from off license, and the bloke saw us walk home from school, but he still sold us bottles of stuff. Yeah. I mean, that, we're talking along 40 odd years ago. Well, no, not maybe 40, 30, 35 40 years ago.
Yeah. And so as you sort of grew up then, how was alcohol playing a part in your life?
It was a major part. I wouldn't say that I wasn't someone who sort of drank every day at home alone. I would say I was your typical binge drinker. So I would literally be drunk from like Thursday night until Monday morning.
Yeah.
And
did that continue sort of after you left education? Did you?
Oh God, yeah, it got worse. as I left education and got my own money working, it actually got worse because I had more money.
Yeah.
So it stayed. It was a regular. I couldn't have not gone out without drinking.
Yeah.
It was just not. I just couldn't do it. Literally, I had to drink before I went out to get me out. And then that would continue all night. And I sort of had this thing in me that I had to be the last person standing, even though I'm quite small. I grew a tolerance that I could drink a lot.
Yeah. So I'm guessing this was around sort of the 90s.
Yeah. 90s. Yeah. 90s. Yeah.
Because I think we had I think the drinking culture now isn't brilliant, but I think it was probably worse in the 90s. And we were kind of like that prime age of being in our sort of 20s, early 20s, going out, because I'm guessing you and I are about the same age. And alcohol was just assumed to be a part of what we were going to do when we were out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so it was.
Yeah. So how did your drinking then come to a head? Was there anything that made you suddenly decide to give up, or?
There was, but I mean, there should be a lot more things that happened before that.
Okay. Tell us about those then.
Well, yeah, I put myself in some quite dangerous situations when drunk. Like when you think back, it's like, oh my God, are you still alive?
Yeah.
So like climbing up scaffolding, just thinking you're invincible, basically. Nothing's going to happen to you. Actually, I remember when I was young, I ended up in the river. I'm not a good swimmer, so I'm not literally sure how I got out of that situation either. So there's been a lot of hairy, scary situations that didn't stop me, because I guess with youth as well, you think you're invincible as well.
Yeah.
But it got to a point, I actually moved abroad. I was working abroad as an expat, had lots of money. And again, the expat thing was very much about drinking. And that it got to a point then, due to life events, I was literally drinking every day then after work, because it was so stressful and just trying to block out my brother's death. At that point, I was drinking every day. And actually, when I went there, I was in Bermuda. The GP, when I registered with the GP, she said, if you have an issue with alcohol, this island is going to make it worse. I'm just giving you a warning. And I sat there and said, oh, that's not an issue for me. Barefaced lie. I just completely, I don't know what she's on about. But it did. It caused a lot of issues for other people and for me. So I was drinking every day, I was turning up to work drunk. And it would start to make me feel, even though I'd had hangovers, I would start to feel really ill at that point. And it was a factor. I wasn't looking after myself at all. It was just like work, party, work, party, work, party. And I actually got seriously ill. But leading up to that, about the year and a half before that, it wasn't as fun anymore.
Yeah. So your drinking was to kind of help you get through, obviously, what was quite a traumatic bereavement.
Yeah.
And so what was it about Bermuda then that makes everybody's alcohol problems worse? Why did the GP
I think
say
it's just an expat culture. Is generally expats generally tend to drink a lot, but there it's such a small island. Drink, it is a sociable thing, isn't it? If you've got control on it, going out, meeting your friends, it's a sociable thing. But there, it was just like happy hours. It's paradise basically. So there's just happy hours. You're out in the sun, outside drinking. And it's just readily available. So, and that's literally, there was a party about anything. Loads of parties. I joined a rugby club as well, so that's very much a drinking culture. I had to go through the initiation and everything. So
okay. And so then you say that you became really ill. Was that the result of drinking every day?
No, I wouldn't say it was just the result of that. There was a lot of factors into that, which for the last 13 years I've been on a journey of discovery on. So but drinking and not looking after myself and just working, drinking, definitely was a factor in my body just going boom. We're going to stop you now. You can't carry on as you are.
Yeah. So what actually happened? Was it very sudden, the onset of your illness, that made you reevaluate?
Well, what happened, I can tell you, and I remember this as clear as day. It was a St. Patrick's Day celebration. So again, we were drinking a lot.
And were you still in Bermuda at this point?
Still in Bermuda then. And that day, I'd had a really strange headache that I've never experienced before. Never felt anything like it, even though I have a history of migraines. But I just ignored it. I just completely ignored it. Still got out, met everyone, very, very drunk. Went to this open air concert for St. Patrick's Day. And some people I were with sort of said to me, you're not normal, like this isn't you normally, there's something not quite right with you. So I just kept falling over. And I thought, I don't really feel right either. So they put me in a taxi, went home. And the next day when I woke up, I stood up and fell. So I couldn't stand up. Literally, I just kept falling down. And I thought, oh, this is a bit weird. Shouted my housemates. I said, I don't know what's going on, but I can't stand up. I keep falling over. So anyway, we waited for me to sort of sober up a bit. And then I went down to the A&E. And yeah, what I actually got labyrinthitis in both ears. So that was the issue of me keep falling down. So I got a very bad viral thing going on, and I never recovered from that.
So do you still have balance issues now?
Yeah, well, funny enough, there's a long story to this. In this journey, I've always had ear issues on my left-hand side. And in this discovery for my own healing journey and well-being journey, I've actually found out about 2 genetic conditions. So I've always been a clumsy person. But yeah, actually my left ear, I don't have the inner ear of the left ear. That's been there since birth. So not been there since birth, I mean. So yeah, I do have balance issues.
Yeah. So did that make you stop drinking then, what happened in Bermuda?
Yeah, I was so ill. I couldn't get out of bed. I was so ill for months and months and months. And every time I tried to go back to work, I was just really ill again. And then that led on to diagnosis of ME, chronic fatigue syndrome. But that opened up loads of tests, and that's how I discovered I got 2 genetic conditions as well, which can sort of put you at issue for fatigue issues. So yeah, I was so ill there was no way I could drink, but it took that to stop me. Yeah.
So have you had a drink since then?
I've had, in 2012 I went to 2 weddings. I was bridesmaid to one, and the other was my a close friend. So I had half a champagne as a toast. And I did a speech as a bridesmaid, and that's it.
And how did that make you feel?
Well, when I tasted it, I was like, oh, I think I'm going to throw up. But I just did a little bit, but it wasn't like, it did not in any way, shape and form make me want to drink anymore.
Yeah.
It was just like, no, I'm done. That part of my life, that door's shut chapter. I'm done with that. Yeah. And I'm way more happier now than I was then, even though I thought I was happy, drunk. No, I wasn't at all.
Yeah. So do you think that sort of like with the drinking, was it easy to stop? Or did you find not having a drink difficult after your illness?
No, it was easy. But I felt so ill. No, it was easy. And it just started a journey such a journey for me, the illness and the not drinking. And I mean, it wasn't just drink that I ended up using in the end. It just opened up such a journey of self-discovery, and try, actually, it's okay not to be the drunk one. It's okay. I think there was an innate thing in me wanting to be accepted and liked. And I thought the only way of doing that was to be in the middle of a party as such. And the choices I made when drunk were so awful. I mean, it's just like, when you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm never drinking again. I'm never doing that again. What the hell did I do last night? I can't remember. But then the next weekend, I'd just go on and do it again. But yeah, no, it's now I have so much more connection to who I am, and I'm okay with saying no. I'm not doing that. I'm okay with I don't worry as much now about what other people think about me. There's so many facets to it, of this self-discovery journey. But yeah, it allowed me to do some deep work on what was behind all of that. And drinking, made me so anxious. It was like I was anxious before I'd had a drink. I needed to have a drink, and then the next morning I'd be even more anxious about what the hell went on last night. So yeah, it's definitely helped with the anxiety and my own personal health and well-being. Because I mean, it's not good for your body in excessive amounts.
No, exactly. It definitely isn't, and I completely relate to the anxiety. That was the biggest difference for me in giving up, was losing that anxious feeling that I had a lot. And I wouldn't say that I'm an anxious person generally. So we obviously you were ill and you were still in Bermuda.
Yeah.
So what prompted you to come back to the UK?
Well, Bermuda is such a small island. You have to have a work visa, and if you can't work, you can't stay there. So yeah, it was like you can't work, so you can't. We can't keep your position. And actually, the company I was working for was making a lot of people redundant. So at the point where I got ill, I was actually doing the job of about 4 people. So there was a lot of stress going on at work as well as personal life. The decision, I had to leave, and so that I left the end of 2010. But the whole of that year, actually, even before I got ill in the March, I'd been thinking, oh, I think you need to leave here. It's not good for you. Maybe that GP was right.
Yeah. So having returned to the UK then, and obviously having been ill and now being sober, how has that affected your professional journey since?
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a huge journey. So I was a former accountant. That's how I ended up in Bermuda. But I knew I never wanted to return. It was just so stressful. It was like, no, I'm never going back. I'm not returning to that job. And I'd always been interested in helping others, but I wasn't quite sure how, in what way I was meant to be doing that. Always been interested in natural health and holistic approach due to weird illnesses as a kid, and my mum, which I now know is the genetic stuff. So whilst there was alcohol at home, there was also lots of natural remedies and stuff going on as well. So yeah, it's been a journey of me, that personal growth, development, healing, because there was a couple of years that I was literally housebound because the fatigue was so bad. And it's something I now have to really monitor closely, because whilst I'm okay with a lot of stuff, there is still something deep inside me that wants to help people and be the people pleaser, and that's the thing that's come up with a lot of people I've worked in. So yeah, it's just been a journey of healing, self-discovery, understanding what was going on in my body, understanding how I got to the point of illness that I did, and just releasing all the life events and the unresolved emotions. There was a lot of loss and grief in there as well, and how that related to the physical being. A lot of work on my self-belief, the limiting beliefs that I had, and just, as I say, sort of coming full circle to back to who I was meant to be, and not a mask of who I thought I should be and how I thought I should be coping with the world, which wasn't in healthy ways.
Yeah. So how did you go on this journey of self-discovery, and what did you do to heal yourself?
Well, oh gosh, there's been a lot. There's been a lot. I mean, stopping drinking, big, massive tick. That was a huge thing on my physical and mental and emotional well-being, on all of it, because the strain it was putting on my body. I mean, at one point, I became literally allergic to everything. My body just started rejecting everything. So at one point, I couldn't even eat normally. I'd be passing out when I was eating and everything. I was really quite ill for quite a number of years. So I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's sort of like the onion analogy. You're peeling back a layer of an onion. So each time you find something out about yourself, you then, oh, okay, that's another layer gone. So it started with definitely doing stuff to reduce stress and anxiety. So it started with putting myself first, my needs first, and not pushing myself to do stuff, not drinking stuff, but I mean, if someone invited me to do something and I knew I was going to get a lot of payback on the fatigue front, that a lot of personal boundaries and being okay with putting what I need first, because I was very much about making sure everyone else was happy, making sure that everyone else was all right, and then just forgetting about myself. So it's been very much about me, putting me front and center. But it's not. We're all work in progress. So it's been an ongoing journey, but it's been something that's sort of built. Everything I've done is sort of built on the last thing I've done. So it's very much the stress, so meditation, stress relief. I was getting regular different holistic treatments to release energy and to rebalance that energy in my body. So that went for a number of years. And then I was actually a carer for a close family member for a couple of years once I built my health back up to a good level. And then after that, I was like, no, all of these things that have helped me, I'm now going to go and train in them and offer that to other people. And then, there's been a lot of work on the emotional release, grief stuff. And I'm very much now on and going deep on the mind, body, and sort of heart connection, and how we store so much in us that we don't really know we're carrying around. And it's so subconscious that we don't know what we don't know. So it's just sharing my story to build awareness in others that, oh, actually, this, there's a lot of stuff in your life that is being held onto by your body because it thinks it's keeping you safe by you holding on to it. But actually, the magic is when you let it go. But to do that, you do have to stand and face some sort of heavy, dark emotions, and accept who you are, because we all have stuff we don't like about ourselves, and it's becoming that you're okay with that, but very much about looking after yourself first. And yeah, I mean, I found out, again, this is only recently in the last few years, I found out that I'd been walking around with complex PTSD since childhood. I had no idea. I just thought it was anxiety and, you know, low mood depression and stuff. So it really does. It is just, I mean, every person's unique and different journey, but there's so much that we may not know. And until we're, and unfortunately as humans, it normally takes a crisis before we actually take action, which was in my case.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, you know, everyone will reach their own point in life when they were like, no, enough is enough. I can't continue this way. Something's got to change.
Yeah. And yeah, obviously your illness was it for you, but you've lived through quite a lot of different personal experiences. I know in your bio you said you've lived through domestic violence, dysfunctional families, addictions, and obviously chronic invisible illnesses, which we've discussed.
Yeah.
Was the your PTSD from childhood?
Yeah. You know, and so it's not that I didn't know this stuff, because I've always been interested in the holistic world, and so it wasn't that I didn't know. You know, it wasn't like I was walking around like, oh, I had the best childhood in the world. I knew I'd had a rough ride, as it were, not a great start in life, but I hadn't realised the impact that it had on me. And whilst I was doing all that drinking in my 20s, I was also visiting a lot of different short courses on energy healing and stuff. You know, that part was always there, but the drinking took the party and me blocking out what it is. It's just blocking out blocking out numbing, you know, what you're trying to avoid, basically. And yeah, you can do a lot to help yourself, but at times there is a point when you need to ask for external support, and which, you know, I did along the way, is doing all the stuff to help myself as well. But yeah, it's don't underestimate the impact, and even small things that you might not think are relevant. I mean, in the work I do with other people, when we're going through and releasing different, you know, trying to get to what's holding them back to what they do want to have in life or achieve and feel, often memories will pop up for them that they're like, well, that's, you know, I'd forgotten about that. That doesn't even feel that relevant. But then they can feel the emotion behind that, and that they've been carrying that around for so long. So, you know, it doesn't have to be this massive trauma, you know, big events. It can be a long line of ongoing little things in your life that build up to a big messy ball inside of you. Yeah.
And so can you tell us a bit about actually how you work with people now and what you do? If somebody was to talk to you.
Yeah, so as I say, I touched on before, over the last few years when I've been working with women, you know, a recurring theme that's come up is them having the identity or knowing they're people pleaser, and they just find it so uncomfortable and hard to break out of that, and that impacts their life. You know, again, they're could be getting physical symptoms, the low energy, the anxiety. So how I work with people is I have a toolbox of different modalities. So it's very, very intuitive. So I'm very empathic, so I can deeply feel what someone else is feeling, and that they may not even be aware of. So what I'm doing is sort of an emotional balancing, equalizing service, as it were, to help people understand themselves better, to improve their relationships, reveal what they aren't yet aware of that is holding them in this heavy place, knowing they want to break repeating pattern or cycle, but they can't do it, and they don't understand why they can't do it. What is it that keeps them keep repeating the same thing? And it's all about building that self-worth, the self-esteem, building that self back up, so you are front and center of your own life, so that you can actually achieve what you want to achieve and help the people you want to help, but not to the detriment of your own life, and health and well-being. So it's very intuitive. I'm guided. I intuitive channel. Sometimes I will get mediumship messages coming in, so I can actually feel, when I'm working with someone, I can feel where in their body they've got issues, and help them understand what is behind that, what has reached that point. And we clear it together, release it together, and we work on what they want to bring into their life.
Yeah.
So it's a bit woo-woo. It is a bit woo-woo, but there is, I think there's more acceptance coming now of the emotional and energy work. I think it is now becoming more sort of mainstream in a way that, and there's a lot more science behind it of how it works.
Yeah. So do you often work with people that have issues with alcohol, and do you work with them for them to give it up, or is that kind of outside your remit, really?
I mean, I work, I wouldn't say, it's not something I would say I work with people who want to give up alcohol, but generally the people who come to me have got issues with a habit they want to stop, out drinking being one, eating being one. And I'm now thinking back past clients, all of them have had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. And there was one lady who we actually found an answer, because she didn't understand why she found it so hard, and why she kept doing it. And we actually got to the cause of why she had such a problem with breaking away from it. And just having that awareness for her made massive shifts. Because she felt, sometimes we can think it's our fault. We all have personal responsibility, but we are also the result of our life. So we all, and when you maybe had a bit of a rocky start, you're not in the best place to be able to make choices, the best choices for yourself, because everything's just such a mess. You're not really, you're confused, you understand, you don't really know why you keep doing what you're doing, but you want to not keep doing it. And until you get that awareness and start clearing stuff out, and there's a lot of self-acceptance and forgiveness. It's just that understanding of what has resulted you to reach a point that you need to change something, and you want to feel happier. You want, you just want to have more time for yourself, and life's so busy these days.
Self-care is really important, isn't it? And it's not a selfish thing to do that either.
No, and a lot of people still feel it is, but they're just saying it's not selfish, and it's the best thing you'll ever do for yourself if you take that step to looking after yourself and facing what you're trying to avoid, even if you don't know what that is, but you just know there's something in you that doesn't feel good anymore and you want it gone.
So I'm guessing from what you've said, you've got no plans to have an alcoholic beverage again?
No. I mean, never say never again. If I was at a wedding, maybe I'd have a sip, But I mean, no, when I go out, I'm literally asking, have you got hot chocolates? Have you got, or I'll take a herbal tea bag with me if they've got nothing that I fancy. Now, obviously, we can talk about your wonderful cocktails now and how that outs. But no, in fact, I very much now avoid being around people who are drinking. Going to the pub is no longer on my to-do list. It's like, no, I find it, very uncomfortable, actually. I just don't like being there.
Yeah. Have you found that your friends have changed? Your circle around you has changed since you gave up alcohol?
Well, obviously I left Bermuda, so that completely changed the circle. I mean, I'm still close friends with the people I was close friends with before. But yeah, I can think of one of my, not that she drinks very much anymore, but yeah, I'm no longer her drinking partner as such. It's like she's got different people that she's met. She's always had them as friends, but yeah, she would be going out with them if they were drinking, not me. And my activity, what my interests of what I want to do are way different. It's, let's say, it's not going to the pub, it's not going to a nightclub. I guess age might change that as well. At 50, I don't know if I'd still want to be in a nightclub. I don't know. And drinking, I don't know, because I don't drink anymore. So my interests and what I put as top of my to-do list and important are, way different to what they used to be.
Yeah. Excellent. So if anybody wants to work with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
I've got a Facebook page, which is under, I put it on here, RubySamYoungZ, which is my full name with the Z on the end of Youngz. They can contact me through there. They can contact me on email, which is RubySamYoungZ at, I'll give my Gmail because it's easier than the other one. RubySamYoungZ at gmail.com. And I've got a free mini workbook download that people can download, which is on the sign up page on my Facebook page button, or they can email me for it. Which is taking the first step to making yourself happier, less anxiety and more energy in your life by it's three strategies to help you break free of people pleasing and becoming, putting yourself first. So that's a free download that people can have a look at as well.
Excellent. I think most people probably need that.
I mean, I think, let's say the last few years, the amount of women have said to me, "Oh, people pleaser." When we've delved into why, why do you not think that you can do this in your life? And it's like, I can't. I've got this, and this, and I've got to make sure this and this. And we are the nurturers, the women, the caregivers, whether that's your children, your aging parents, and if women in business specifically, we want to help other people, don't we? We wouldn't be doing what we were doing if we didn't want to help someone else. And again, is something that can become, when you're over-giving to your work, and again, the work-life balance starts to slip. It's we are the nurturers, the carers, and if you are a caring person, empath, that there is this thing in your heart that you want to help people, but to do that, we need to help ourselves first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, take care of ourselves before we can take care of anybody else. It's like the analogy, isn't it, with the aeroplane and the masks coming down. They always say, put it on yourself first and then put it on.
And if you don't know why you can't, then that's an invitation to maybe look into why you can't do that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us. We'll put all the links to find you in the notes.
Oh, okay.
And it's been a fascinating conversation. I definitely think woo-woo is becoming more mainstream. It's not something I've got huge experience of, but, you know, I do find it fascinating. And I'm sure that, you know, there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of blocks that are internal that they probably don't know that they have. And any way to clear them, you know, it's going to be beneficial really in the long run for everybody.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for joining us, Sam. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to everybody for listening. This has been Stories from My Drinking Days with me, Harry Fell, and Ruby Sam Youngz. Thank you.